Good morning, everyone. 10 a.m. sharp starting the webinar today. All right. The networking with impacted tech events. This is the plan for today. Let's wait one more minute for everyone to join us today. If you could say hi in the chat, please, that would be very much helpful to get to know each other, to network a bit, we could say. All right. Before we actually start the whole presentation, to keep us run smoothly, I'd like us to simply follow some rules. The very first and simple rule is, if you've got any questions, if you've got any comments, share them in the chat. Kasia is going to help us here. She's just introduced herself in the chat. She'll help us moderate it, collect the questions, and most of them I'll be answering at the very end of this session. However, if anything relevant to the presentation itself, immediately, if you need any help with the technical issues or anything like that, share it immediately. We'll try to help it out. Yeah, definitely, yes. Try to add your questions. Hello, Evelina. Pleased to meet you. Pleased to meet you, and pleased to have you here. Actually, fantastic to see you again. All right. Yes. I think we've got 2 minutes past 10. Best if we could get it started. Definitely helps us out to run smoothly through the agenda. Networking at the tech events. Actually, why are we focusing on the tech events? Because we've got plenty of clients from the tech industry, from the IT industry, and networking is something that is increasingly on demand when it comes to not only the salespeople, but also the experts who need to go out to the public, go out and present and meet at different events the counterparts, so people in the same role, but very often they have to engage for business growth. So actually trying to lead generation practices. This is why so. But in fact, the tips and the specific elements of language I'm going to share with you today are applicable to anyone outside of IT as well. So if you're in a different industry, networking is the skill that you might find useful, and something that I'm going to share with you will definitely be applicable in your field as well. All right. So what's networking? I like to start with defining what I'm going to talk about. Professional networking is the process of establishing a mutually beneficial relationship with whom? With other people in your profession or potential clients, as I've mentioned already. I'd like us to focus on the word mutually. Mutually understanding, we can say mutually, we understand mutually. So we are aiming at a mutual understanding. Here we are talking about a mutual benefit. So something that benefits both parties who you talk to, for example, and yourself. And this is a very important thing to bear in mind when getting ready for any events. We're going to focus on some networking culture, which will help you to actually get to know some etiquette, how to join conversations, and so on later on in the presentation. All right. Some of you who work in IT might have heard as well the phrase computer networking, and most probably are acquainted with the phenomenon. I'd call it as in computer networking, there are certain communication protocols that govern the ways and devices that talk to one another. This is also something that is present in networking professionally. So the webinar agenda for today will start off actually with something that is a very tangible thing for you, hopefully. This will be an expert analysis of a realistic conversation at a tech event. And later on, We're going to focus on the communication traps to avoid. Actually, throughout the conversation, I'm going to remind you what to avoid, what to be precarious about. When it comes to the English communication patterns practice, I will definitely share as much as possible, and I will not only share it with you, but I will try to give you some hands-on practice so that you could simply gain something just immediately after this 1 hour with me. This is my kind of a deep belief that anything that you share should be immediately applicable in your life, and that's the philosophy that we follow as part of and providing trainings at CoAction. The tips and tricks on the networking culture will follow when presenting the dialogue, when presenting and analyzing the conversation. However, if time allows, I've got ready a few slides summarizing the networking culture and the tips and tricks that you should definitely follow just to kind of reinforce your knowledge. And the Q&A session at the very end, around 5 minutes for that, has already been saved by me. All right. Um, I'd like us to stay until the end. I mean, there's going to be a special bonus for you interested, for those of you who are interested in improving the English, improving the business communication, and improving the communication skills in business. I'm going to give you more details later on. I'll start off actually with explaining who we are, so that you kind of first get acquainted and we get some credibility, gain some credibility for what I'm going to talk about. CoAction Business Language Trainers is the company I set up 12 years ago. In fact, 2012 was the first year of us operating under this brand. I could say that to be frank, I think we provide a quite unique perspective on the market, a combination of language training, communication skills development, and understanding of business and technology. In fact, what we do, if you are interested, what we do is we teach communication specifically for the interactions that your role it requires. What we start off with actually is a very well-defined analysis of what you have to do as part of your role. If networking, for example, is one of the things that you have to do, as part of your position, that's something to focus on, and we actually produce a training plan and then implement it based on how you can do networking now, and fill in the gaps of between how you can do it and what your benchmark is, and how it should look like, let's say, perfectly. Um, we are around we are around 40 people now in the team. Some statistics on the slide if you want to follow. Anyway, a bit just one more word about myself. Honestly, I don't like talking about myself that much, so I'll tell you what sort of benefits my experience I will try to leverage in this webinar. I hope you'll get a chance to make a good use of my business English training experience, my business experience running the company, and my track record networking. I think I've attended more than 200 different kinds of events in networking. And to be honest, when it comes to the B2B sales, that's this kind of source of leads has led us to gaining the most robust deals ever. I truly believe then that networking is a powerful tool. If you're in the industry, if you're in a different industry, I believe I mean, you could be in a different industry, of course, but what I mean is if you're thinking about networking just for your professional development, I mean, networking as part of your role, but also gaining, for example, some new job opportunities that might be useful as well. All right, let's get started with conversation. I would like you to listen to a conversation which is taking part at a tech event in the United States. The United States will be our focus actually for today. This is a conversation between a software development agency representative. It could be a founder, it could be someone from the sales, it could be some technical expert. Anyway, and a potential client from the United States. This conversation has been generated with AI tools. Not sure how you feel about that, but yes, feel free to share your judgment on how AI is able to convey emotions. I think there's still some room for improvement, but that's the best we could have done. We've tested multiple sources, multiple applications to do it, even ChatGPT, who actually refrained from helping us yesterday, just to double check if we could tweak it a bit more after the new release. Anyway, take your still time. It will take around 2 minutes to listen to this conversation. And the only thing I want you to focus on is how the conversation goes smoothly. I mean, what makes it smoothly flowing. This is one of the most important things to remind when it comes to chatting up strangers at events, how to make it smooth and flow. All right, let's add it to the stage and
Enjoying the
listen.
conference?
Absolutely. Can't complain. All this innovation around is simply mind.
So let's get started from the beginning.
Hi there. Enjoying the conference?
Absolutely. Can't complain. All this innovation around is simply mind-blowing.
No kidding. That's one of the things I love about these kinds of events. By the way, I heard Austin is known for having many award-winning craft breweries. Do you know any place worth hitting afterwards?
Sure thing. I can recommend Blind Pig Pub. All the Silicon Hills Smarties gather there. I'm Paul, by the way. Nice to meet you.
I'm Adam. Nice to meet you too, and thanks for your recommendation, Paul. What company are you representing?
Actually, I'm from Legit Tech. We use technology to recruit top legal talent for large international law firms.
Legit Tech? Sounds familiar. I heard you guys have recently launched a massive headhunting campaign for Hogan Lovells, haven't you? Congrats on that.
Oh, thanks. We're so excited to have one of the biggest law firms in the US in our portfolio. But it's quite surprising you heard about that, honestly. Are you also in legal tech?
Not really. I'm an owner of a software development agency called Why Me, but we've worked with a few legal tech companies before.
Really? Funny name for a software agency. Actually, having faced some scalability issues, we're looking for help with the app migration to the cloud. Is this in your wheelhouse?
Funny you mention that. We've recently worked with a legal tech scale-up facing a similar challenge. It wasn't an easy thing to do, but we successfully migrated their app to the cloud, improving scalability by 25%. I believe your case might be quite similar.
That sounds promising, Adam. We should discuss this further.
I don't want to keep you right now. I know the main panel is just about to start. Shall we pencil in a video call for the start of the next week, and you can let me know if we need to move it?
Sounds perfect. Let's exchange contacts and make it happen. Looking forward to it.
Likewise, Paul. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Absolutely, Adam. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you for listening. Definitely. Let's move on back to the presentation itself. Okay. Just to put you in some context, that conversation was actually in Austin, Texas, as you might have heard this name coming up. And let's get down to the analysis of that, so that you gain some knowledge first, how to make this a smooth conversation of kind, and the second thing, how to incorporate and use and some language they used as part of the dialogue yourselves. All right. The very first thing that Adam, so the software agency owner, actually does here is he asks a very simple and demanding to answer question. This is actually one of the first tips to share with you. Definitely ask the questions that people are easily able to answer. There's no time for complicated questions. This is a small talk time. This is the small talk time, and this is the stage which I call building rapport. This what is very important in this stage is that the conversation keeps flowing. Let's have a look how Adam does it. What he does actually, he reiterates with very positive remarks, saying, "No kidding." The conference, yes, confirming that what Paulo said about the innovation, which is mind blowing at the very conference. What he does as well, he changes the topic slightly, but for some purpose. And this is another thing very important to follow. He changes the topic by saying, "By the way, I heard Austin is known for having many award winning craft breweries." He might not be that interested in, of course, breweries, but he definitely wants to give a remark about Austin and kind of establish a bonding. He assumes that Paul might be from Austin himself. And what he does next is he finishes with a question again to ask Paul, to engage Paul. Do you know any place worth hitting? A very important thing. Paul, of course, is an engaged interlocutor. He shares his recommendation. Actually, Blind Big Bad is the real place in Austin. If you ever go there, all the Silicon Hills smarties gather there. For those in the IT industry, Silicon Valley is something that most probably not only people in the tech industry, but anyone understands what it is, where all the tech companies gather. There's something similar, analogous to Silicon Valley in Austin. It's called Silicon Hills. AMD, I think, is the, and a few other companies, PayPal, I truly believe. All right. What follows is that Adam actually smoothly moves on to the business talk. We're going to analyze it later on. He asks the question that keeps him transfers the conversation towards business by asking, "What company are you representing?" Of course, you could also say, "What company do you work for? Where are you from?" Meaning, what company you're like. I mean, what kind of company you work for. This is the simplest thing to ask the question. This is the simplest way to ask such similar questions. Okay. Time to move on. Yes, we've looked at these phrases. Time to move on to the practice. I'll now give you a few seconds to figure out what is missing in the very gap at the very beginning of the conference. Feel free to submit your answers in the chat. Take a moment. What's missing here? All right. Of course, it's enjoying the conference. The question is, later on, I'm going to teach you some other phrases to start the conversation. Okay, another one. By the way, I sure thing. Yeah, different ways of saying how's the conference. Definitely, I heard. This is the American way of saying I heard. You could also say it in the British way. In the British ways, it would be I've heard Austin is known for. Uh, definitely. Okay, another one. What company? Right, of course. Excellent. Thank you. AABB. What company representing? Beautiful, Bevelina. Thank you for sharing with us the answer. All right, that was kind of a simpler starter, a simple start for our practices. As promised, I'm going to show you different ways than just asking the simple question, enjoying the conference, how to enter the conversations. These three ways of jumping into the conversation are applicable to the situation where you, in fact, want to join some people already talking. And as you can see here, we're not going to go into much detail about each and every, going to pick only one to analyze it in more depth. But as you can see here, I've highlighted in different colors different functions of such a short kind of way of sliding into a conversation and joining some people talking. Let's have a look at the first one. I mean, sorry, the third one. I think this is the smoothest one to follow. I mean, it's very natural, very native, like we could say. Just saying that, hello, I noticed you're discussing cybersecurity issues. As a CTO, so you express who you are and why it might be interesting for you. I deal with similar issues, double check. And then a very soft way to ask if you could join. Mind if I add my perspective? As you can see, you can skip actually do you and just ask mind if I. This is a natural way of saying this is so-called spoken grammar, and that works pretty fine. All right, not to. I like testing memory. I mean, it's the best way to actually get acquainted with the new phrases. So again, I'd like you to fill in the gaps. You can also give us the answers immediately in the chat again. Three gaps here, four in fact. Here as a CTOI, there are two words kind of combined. So please, if you're happy to share your answers. All right, discussing. Yes. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Deal with later on as a CTO. I deal with. And how do we finish off? Mind if I add? Perfect. Thank you. Definitely yes. Okay. These are the answers. Just to double check for yourselves. Instead of discussing, of course, you could say, I noticed you're talking about. That's fine. Remember that we don't mix discuss and about. This is a very common thing for Polish people. Some kind of an interference from Polish. Discuss about. No, it doesn't happen. Never. I mean, just say discuss something. Discuss cybersecurity. I think you're discussing something interesting to myself. All right. Pitching part. In the dialogue, the pitch part was actually spread a little thin. I mean, it was spread throughout the large part of the conversation. However, what Adam does is a very, again, important thing to follow when it comes to networking. He asks the question, legit tech, that just to double check if he has heard the name right. Paul has revealed his company name, and legit tech is the name, but Adam double checks. Remembering the names of the company, of the person who you're talking to, of any projects that he or she mentions is something I'd really recommend. And if you haven't heard something and it's difficult to comprehend because someone speaks with a very distinctive accent, for example, don't hesitate to double check it. Of course, this shows some kind of you must have just overheard it. It doesn't need to be about English. It could be about the noises around. Definitely double check what the name is. Later on, what Adam does again gives a compliment and congratulates on that. And he mentions it in a very simple way. Again, I heard you guys have recently launched a massive headhunting campaign for Hogan Lovells, a large law firm. And this is something that definitely is worth doing. We Polish people very often have issues complimenting people, and the Americans are very good at that, and they expect actually to hear simpler things. Be honest, of course. If you've done your research, please use it and definitely show that you know something about the company, that you're willing to commemorate kind of success of that company. And okay, um, just to draw your attention what follows Adam starts his speech with a very simple explanation who he is, saying that I'm an owner of a software development agency, and he shows his track record. We've worked with a few companies of similar kind, legal tech companies, before. We've worked with. This is a very natural way to show that you've got some experience working with similar companies. And Paul is, of course, surprised and reveals something from his field, what kind of issues they are facing. And that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. The person you're talking to reveals the issues. Amazing thing. But it wouldn't have happened if Adam was not conversing in a very smooth way, in a very polite, courteous way at the very beginning, and the conversation flows. And of course, he's done his research. He was ready for similar meetings. Sometimes you don't have much information about who you're going to meet, but definitely having a few case studies up your sleeve definitely helps you to establish some bonding and to make some reference so that your clients kind of immediately gets hooked on what you do and would like to get more interested. All right. There's a nice phrase you could use and you could hear from the Americans. Is this in your wheelhouse? So is this your area of expertise? A wheelhouse um, is something that as okay, it's a part of the boat as well. I mean, the original term comes from that, but um, in in fact, in business, this is a term that uh, means the area of expertise or the area of interest. And here is a reminder for you, if you want to smoothly converse on different topics with native speakers, if you need to network in the events in the US or different countries, definitely work on the idiomatic expressions that they could use so that you feel confident that you've understood them correctly and so that your interlocutors feel comfortable with you. A very important thing to bear in mind. Adam, again, um, reiterates in a very smooth way. You can see the interaction flowing here very smoothly. Funny you mentioned that we've recently worked with a legal tech scale up facing a similar challenge. And then what follows is a very useful, it's a tremendously useful thing to do. He gives a case study explaining also the results of it. It wasn't an easy thing. He gives a narrative. It wasn't an easy thing, but we were successful. But we did it successfully, and what helped the company, the client. I mean, the result of that cooperation was improving scalability by 25%. And a nice wrap up with, I believe your case might be quite similar. All right, lots of going on in this part of pitching. Uh, Again, some practice. What's missing here? How does he finish this compliment? Take your time. it might be too easy to share. Yeah, of course, it's congrats of that. You must have used this multiple times on LinkedIn or elsewhere. The next one, what have we got here? Yes, why me? But mm, sure, we've worked with a few legal tech companies, uh, and it's getting more difficult now. Try to fill in the gaps. Okay, think too many. A few more gaps here immediately. Sorry for that. Cropping up on the screen. But let's focus on the first one, even if I'm anything here. We're looking, okay, actually having faced some scalability issues, we are looking for help with our app migration to the cloud. Do you remember the phrase he used there? I mean, the area of expertise. Is this in your, anyone sharing in the chat? Come on. The spelling is difficult, but I bet he could do it. Yes. All right. Yeah, they're in the wheelhouse. Is this in your wheelhouse? And what follows? Fanny, you take your time. I mean, jot it down yourselves. I think it might be pointless to do everything in the chat. Take your time to reflect on that. And the answers we are revealed. Fanny, you mentioned that we've recently worked with. It wasn't an easy thing to do, but we successfully and improving scalability by 25%. Yes, thank you for sharing. Yeah, you can say, funny you mentioned that, funny you mentioned in the past is fine as well. This is a kind of alternative. Okay, let's get going. Pitch samples. As I've mentioned, Adam gives a pretty extended pitch. I mean, he pitches himself, then he pitches his case study, he gives the results. It's more of a blog post in spoken version. However, I would like you to focus on another 3 examples how to pitch effectively. I'll give you later on the chance to practice this. I mean, to give your own pitch here. A fantastic opportunity to do so. Let's have a look at the first one. What have we got here? In fact, we've got 3 elevator pitches. Elevator pitch is, or an elevator speech, is something of 2 sentences maximum, of course, in speaking, and it shouldn't take more than 10 seconds. And it's a general introduction of what you do, who you are, what sort of problem or what sort of expertise you offer. I mean, what sort of problem you solve or what sort of expertise you offer. Yeah. When it comes to the first one, what's interesting here is that John, the CTO at Tech Innovators, he says what he specializes in, meaning his company specializes in. Here it's of course about AI. And what he also does is that he refers to the target group. Another important thing immediately to kind of narrow down who you work for, because it's all comes from your strategy, but it's worth revealing. It's about the small and medium enterprises and what sort of benefits it brings the solution, streamlining operational efficiencies. Sarah, on the other hand, from Smart Data Solutions. So anyone from the data here? Yeah, please share. if you're from the data analytics. They help telco enterprises effectively analyze. So what they do, again, showing what kind of job they do for telco companies. Well, they effectively analyze and use their customer data, again, for what reason? To show the the benefits. And last but not least, it's a different kind of a style of saying with greetings, starting with greetings and saying who Alex is and where he actually works from. He doesn't say from what he does, but he just mentions the company here. I provide cloud solutions to dynamically growing tech startups facing scalability issues. This is a slightly different one from the previous two, as Alex names the issue that he solves, the problem. This is an alternative to talking about what sort of solutions you provide, what problems you solve, is another way of pitching. Okay, crafting your pitch. Crafting your own pitch is something that helps you simply get it ready. You could save your time at work now. I mean, just doing it right now will save some time for yourself as part of getting ready for the networking events. Maybe you're going to any soon. Here are the gaps to help you fill in, and definitely I will give you now good 2 minutes or 3 minutes to write down. Please write it down for yourselves or in the chat and share it with us if you would like to, but keep it anyway for yourself. If you share it with us, I could comment on that if there's anything to correct or you could improve on. Feel free to join us in sharing your own pitches. Yes, thank you, Kasia, for copying and pasting it. It might be very helpful. Yeah. You could copy paste to your notepads and get your own pitch ready. 1 more minute to wait for it. Okay, you've got around 3 minutes to get it ready. I can't see anyone sharing the page. Always take this opportunity to share who you are. This is a part of networking, isn't it? But anyway, thank you very much. I hope this will help you to actually structure your pitches. Very short elevator pitches. Of course, it's not a kind of pitching you could expect at a tech event where you actually go to the stage and actually pitch your company, product, innovative solution or so. But definitely, this is something that you could make use of when in a conversation at a tech event or any other event. Please get it ready up in advance, as you get stressed, you might get clumsy to explain even simple things about the things that you do. Complimenting. Let's move on to that part, which is, again, to remind you, I think that it's something quite useful, especially when working with the American nation. Complimenting and expressing compliments and receiving compliments is something as well worth remembering to use. Three ways of different. Here are three ways of complimenting on something based on the research that you found out based on the research you had done earlier before the networking event. You could say, for example, I was really impressed. Impressed by what? By your presentation. It could be about when you approach the speaker of the conference. Then you just show what was specifically interesting. Your insights were very enlightening, and you can move on discussing. Then later on, you can also explain your interest in. You can express your interest in the recent article you read, for example, on LinkedIn, Medium, or anywhere else. You could also say what kind of value it provided to you. And later on, you can also say, I must say your approach to project management is inspiring. And again, what kind of benefit it has brought to you. Complimenting, I bet you could do it in different ways. The key here is research. Researching, Adam did it in a very simple way. He gave some positive remark about Austin, about the location. You can give a positive remark about the booth of someone's, about even clothes. Why not? Or anything that shows some kind of a personality of the other person, and you just notice that, and you're positively surprised. But of course, be careful, slightly careful here about expressing your thoughts, and this needs some kind of softening language sometimes. Okay, the last part of the dialogue we listened to was about moving on towards a follow-up. I called this stage engineering opportunities on purpose, as I truly believe that the phrase engineering, in English especially, is about creating, building, but consciously engaging in creating this opportunity. And Adam does it perfectly here. What he does is that he smells that the main panel is about to start, and Paul might be interested in that, as it's maybe there is some, top star speaking from Apple or somewhere else. And he wants to keep in touch with Paul. And what he does is he expresses what's going to happen. I don't want to keep you right now. I see that the main panel is about to start. What he does is asks to schedule a call later on offline after the event. Shall we pencil in? So kind of shut down. Of course, it's not about penciling in. So it's about now most probably connecting in the calendar or LinkedIn. And he offers to schedule a video call, and if Paul wants to move it, he could move it. But my piece of advice here is definitely, if possible, if someone is interested in your services and looks interested, schedule the call immediately, as it's much harder later on after once you come back home after the event and you want to schedule the next meeting or the follow-up meeting. It's sometimes the enthusiasm goes down. I think it's very important to do it immediately to kind of but it's hot, yeah. So definitely. And the nice way of finishing off the conversation is Adam uses here is he says, it's been pleasure chatting with you. Likewise is another phrase to say the same to you. Definitely likewise is the softest one, is the shortest one, and it's most neat one. Okay, again, I want you to practice. Have a look at the dialogue again. Try to fill in the gaps. I don't want to right now. Anyone? Take your time. shall we? Two gaps here. The synonym for schedule to write down, in fact. And you can let me know if we need to. All right. Easy peasy, and most probably for you. But what Adam says here is sit up here. Yeah, upset. Hope no one is upset after. And set it up or postpone, definitely. Yeah, set up a video call is a nice one as well. All right. And the answers revealed. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. All right. Time is up. We're going to move on to one of the last parts, wrapping up with a follow-up. As you've just noticed, there are three different ways of closing the conversation, exiting very smoothly. Yeah, two different ways, a bit extended. The first one, it's been great chatting with you about the trends in data analytics. This sentence is very important because when you express your thought about having a pleasure, having had the pleasure chatting with someone, talking to someone, it's worth mentioning why or what sort of pleasure from what you derive. And here we've got a very specific thing, the trends in data analytics we've talked about. And you express your hope that you can move on and talk about it online. Hope we can continue this discussion online. Later on, you can also offer how to connect on LinkedIn. Why don't we connect? Why don't we exchange our contact details, our business cards? Could be also the case. And I'll message you my availability for a call. And this is a very firm statement, what you expect from the other person. I definitely truly believe that putting things on the table and in a very straightforward manner that we've had a good conversation. Why don't we just chat a bit up about the possible ways to help one another? Why not? The next one is of a similar kind. I really enjoyed our conversation about SaaS developments. What do you say if we dive deeper? Another phrase, dive deeper into the topic and help each other. I think we'll have a look at one of the practices here. Fill in the gaps if you could. Take your time. Okay, the answer is revealed. And another one cropping up here. Take your time to fill in the gaps. All right, and the answers are like this. That's it about the conversation that we've been analyzing. What I'm going to do now is, as promised, to share with you a few tips and tricks on the networking culture. Some of them have already been mentioned as part of the dialogue analysis. Now, it's a kind of a wrap-up. I truly believe that conferences are not for sales, they are for lead generation. you believe it or not, it sounds obvious, but the temptation might be strong. If you're there at the conference and someone looks tempted to get more interested, or you could also feel that, I don't know, someone is about to buy your services, to immediately jump into the conclusions that of a similar kind to, are you ready to order, sir, as the waiter could ask you in the restaurant. Remember, it's about building relationships. It's not about closing immediately. I think it is definitely worth to leave it until the follow-up, once you discover the client's needs more thoroughly, and to nurture the relationship. And that's the crucial thing, I think, here. Okay. What I truly believe is, again, something that may sound um, as a rule of the thumb, so something very kind of natural, but I truly believe that research is vital for you being successful at the networking event. Researching who you're going to speak to. You can, of course, check the applications where you set up your account for some, when buying the tickets and getting some top tier, I don't know, levels when it comes to participant levels. I mean, for the conference, you most likely will get some application where the participants' names and surnames will be revealed. Why don't you connect with them? Why don't you ask for the introduction, the friends who you have a common relationship with, and to get you introduced. What is also important is to know what you're going to talk about. So researching about, as you guys have seen, that was very helpful for Adam, that he knew something about Logitech. What you're going to talk about, it definitely helps a lot. And how. This is something underestimated. How, by how I mean how and in what circumstances are you going to chat someone up? If it's the corridor talk, if you're going to approach someone after this speech, or if it's going to be, if the environment is going to be noisy, you have to be ready for such things, and you have to kind of mentally get yourself ready for different ways of conversing and different circumstances to be placed in. Another thing, I'd say that your counterpart, your interlocutor, should be your hero. I love this phraseology of which comes from How to Win Friends and Influence People from Dale Carnegie. And you must have read this book, or if you haven't, just please do. It's a very useful piece of advice before networking at an event. Um, I truly believe that helping the other people feel good about themselves, so being curious, asking questions, showing genuine interest, talking in terms of others' interests, it is something definitely that helps you build this bonding, build this connection. I've also mentioned remembering the names, and that also comes from that book. I truly believe that as well, getting small talk topics ready. Mm, Again, if you're going to the United States, you might simply specifically to some state or to some specific city, do your research about the recent events there. Politics are usually avoided, but it's good to know about what's going on. Think about the sports that are important in the region: baseball, football, American football, basketball, NBA. Think about the names of the teams there. Um, get ready for local culture, mm, landmarks, standing points, anything that could make your relationship immediately take it to another level of understanding, of grasping the culture, grasping, so that the other person feels that there is a flow. And another thing which we've practiced extensively, and hope you've made your pitch yourself, prepare a few forms of pitches. It can be the short elevator pitch. It can be the slightly extended one, as you've seen from Adam, where there was also some case study revealed, but definitely get them ready before the event itself. Genuine compliments are always welcome. Do not hesitate to compliment people, especially if you're in the United States. And it makes a lot of sense. And the last one, answering group conversations and contributing is something you have to do. You have to kind of join the conversations once you see that there is a physical gap, for example, between people. Please do it. Just try to sneak in. Wait a second, a few seconds, a few minutes to tune in for this into this discussion and then contribute. Remark. I've just shown you some ways to slide in to the conversations to jump started, and you might have used that. Sorry, one more here. Follow up with your contacts promptly. I would say schedule it immediately. Schedule the call immediately at the conference and follow up the same week best, or in a few days once you come back home. If you're coming back from the United States to Poland, it might take some time, but definitely may get back to the office. All right, thank you very much. As promised, there's a special offer only until the 31st of May, so the end of May, from ourselves. And you just need to contact Natalia. Here I have details. Kasia will just add it to the chat. The networking password, discount password. The discount, we don't like to share, I mean, we don't do it very often, but what we would like to give you some opportunity, because my experience shows that people who come to our webinars are usually interested in improving their English, but they need sometimes some prompt, something to push them. A special offer you to get you kind of enticed towards practicing your English with us is to give you extra hours to each and every training that you buy with us. I'd like to draw your attention as well to our English plus skills workshops, which one of them, which is which are about networking. So something that I've just shown you today is really a glimpse into what we do. It was not that personalized as you could expect it as part of our regular English plus skills workshops, because we usually adjust it to the networking culture of the country, of the clients, of the company, or of your clients, and we kind of get you ready not only for networking, but we could also run a workshop on. We usually work for clients where, for example, presentation skills need to be developed in English. Negotiating skills, be it technical negotiations or proposal negotiations or salary negotiations, anything like that. Any other skills would be, we help also to get ready people for running workshops, running training, facilitating discussions in meetings, anything like that. This is a mix of, as I mentioned, communication skills and understanding of business, but also some proper language training specifically dedicated towards improving your business skills. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please share any feedback with me here if you'd like, and hope to, of course, if you've got any questions, feel free to share them with me, and I'd be happy to answer. Thank you. No questions here, but yeah, I'm happy to mm, connect with you on LinkedIn. You could scan my QR code here. Give me a sec. Where was that? Here. Connect me on LinkedIn, or just you can chat me up there if you have any questions about our services, or just you need some help or some tips, or need some explanation on what I've been talking about. Very much thank you. And so happy to have you all here. Fantastic. Think 10 a.m. timing. In for sure one of the biggest CE tech events in Poland, in Europe, I think, is happening. I think starts tomorrow, yeah. And I think it's the right time to get networking skills ready. Say if you're going there, anyone, or going to a different conference. You might be from a different industry, pharmaceuticals or finance or any other. Share it with me. All right. I can see no questions, so I'm very happy to have spent this hour with you, and hope you've learned something practical. I truly believe in practical tips, but also some hands-on language to be used immediately in the next event. Hope you've had some. Cheers, and hope to see you soon. And that's it. Thank you so much. Cheers.